Well, hello there.
Hello.
Hey,
How are you guys?
doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm super excited. Tal's very sorry. He is actually on a European vacation right now. So
Oh,
is
how unfortunate for him.
I know. Maybe sorry wasn't the right word. He's gleeful that he's not here. I don't know. But yeah, he's seeing something really cool and interesting right now. And we get to see each other, which is also very cool and interesting.
Also cool and interesting. Yes, equally.
Equally.
Mhm.
So I have been a huge fan of you guys for the longest time and love everything about you guys. And so I really wanted to bring you on, kind of showcase who you are, what you've been through, and just kind of introduce you to our awesome audience. So if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to do our patented introduction. Are you guys ready for that?
Yeah.
Ready.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, Braving Business. So today on the show, we have Aurea de Guzman and Bobby McFadden, and they are from Grumpy Spice LLC. And what is that? Oh, well, we're going to dig into that. So, the journey with Grumpy Spice LLC is a powerful story of transformation, resilience, and bold creativity. What began as a shared background passion, growing peppers and experimenting with fiery flavors, blossomed into a nationally recognized small batch hot sauce brand that continues to make waves in the culinary world. Bobby, a former sales professional with no formal business training, dove headfirst into entrepreneurship, learning the ropes from the ground up. Aurea, a full time nurse and devoted gardener, brought her naive confidence and cultural flair to the mix, balancing careers and co ownership with grace and tenacity. Together, they've navigated the steep learning curve of licenses, food regulations, marketing, and building a brand, all without a roadmap. Their big breaks came through authenticity, creativity, and collaboration, a partnership with Church's Chicken, and before that, a feature in Hulu's Superhot, The Spicy World of Pepper People, showcased their ability to blend commercial appeal with personal passion. Each bottle of Grumpy Spice is infused with their shared love of bold flavor, community connection, and storytelling, rooted in Bobby's fascination with history and Aurea's global culinary influences. Managing a business across state lines and different time zones, they've honed a partnership built on trust, clear communication, and shared vision. Their success is not just in the sauces they sell, but in the courage it took to start, the resilience it takes to keep going, and the creativity to stand out. From humble backyard beginnings to national recognition, Bobby and Aurea's journey is a celebration of passion turned purpose. They continue to push the boundaries of flavor one bottle at a time. So, Bobby and Aurea, we're so thrilled to have you on the Braving Business Podcast.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having us. That made us sound much cooler than we actually are.
Oh, come on, you've earned it all. You've earned it all.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's, I guess kind of with both of you, and you can take turns on your answer, whatever. But how did Grumpy Spice begin, and what inspired you guys to take a background hobby and turn it into a full-fledged business?
It was a thought. Um, one day we had a thought, I guess, right? Araya, we met on social media, hit it off, became best friends on there, and just sharing our peppers and stuff that we were growing in our yards. And I think we hinted at, hey, I've always wanted to have a hot sauce company, um, but we never actually, made a move on it. But a lot of things came our way that kind of brought it to reality.
Right.
If you want to speak on that a little bit, already, I mean, from your point of
Exactly.
view.
We were kind of launched into the hot sauce business. Like Bobby said, we're hobby gardeners and we just grow a lot of spicy peppers in the garden. And that gained us like entrance to this super hot series, just as gardeners. And then the producers had the brilliant idea to have us create a sauce. And that's where we created the first two hot sauces that we launched from Grumpy Spice, which is the
Yeah.
Best in Asian hot sauce, and the Sweet Sizzle Drizzle, which is Bobby's dessert hot sauce. And after the show launched, there was a lot of interest in those sauces that we just made for a farmer's market, and people loved it when they tried it, and that was enough for me, honestly. But the interest that that came with the show kind of pressure. There was a sense of pressure for us to bring the product out because people were really adamant that like we really want to try the blazing Asian,
Yeah.
the sweet sizzle drizzle, and we just kind of like you said, we dove headfirst into the fire, and here we are.
That is so cool. That's it. So you met on social media. You guys are just not just, but you're avid gardeners. You're avid pepper growers,
Correct.
and you're having this conversation. I think that's kind of amazing. Very, very cool. Blazing Asian, and I will say your sauce. I'm assuming that's your flagship sauce, and then everything else is kind of afterwards. If I'm
Yeah.
looking at it from a sauce perspective. Um, Blazing Asian, even though it has Asian in the title, it is so good on so many different types of cuisine because I have used it from everything from breakfast to dinner, and it really is a fantastic sauce. So if for our listenership, if you haven't tried it, my gosh, go out and get it, and we'll go into the social media and where you can order later on in the show and all that stuff. So for the two of you, what was there like a moment where you realized, hey, okay, we're getting together and we're doing this, and the show wants us to do a sauce? Like normally people will grow something and they're like, hey, this is pretty good, and my family loves it, and then my family's friends love it, and then my neighbors love it, and people are saying this should come out and be more in the public. But it sounds like it was a little bit more of a reverse for you guys, where you had this dream of creating a pepper sauce and a pepper company, and Hulu kind of like pushed you towards that. So what is that like? Like what's the pressure of being like, oh, okay, now we got to go from avid pepper growers to actual sauce makers? What was that like?
So I think to
Thing.
kind of answer that question, we got to take a step back. Like, so Aurea and I, well, at least on my part, and she'll kind of tell you about her, but before the show, I had been growing super hot peppers for about 6 or 7 years. And my whole journey actually started with the idea of just wanting to make hot sauce, but I'm stubborn. So I said, hey, I want to grow all my ingredients. So I took like a little detour and got into peppers. And then I got obsessed with peppers, and I grew peppers for, 5, 6, 7 years, little backyard botany. Um, and through all that time, I was making my own little sauces in the background, not really looking for like an opportunity from it, but more or less to, treat my family members with. And, you know, um, trying to think of the best way to put this. I think Araya is like in a similar situation. Like she just has a passion for growing peppers, and you were also doing the same thing for your family members, right, Araya?
Actually, no, I'm the only one that eats spicy things in my family. I'm doing this for myself. As selfishly as that might sound, I grew peppers for my own joy and happiness.
Yeah.
But my dad, when he was alive, he loved peppers as well. But when he passed, it was all for me.
Yeah.
And he brought a lot of inspiration towards with the sauces that we made for Church's Chicken to the sauces that we make today. And to speak for my experience, it was very daunting. It was scary. And Bobby and I really connected when we were going through like social media and stuff because we are very anxious people and
Yeah.
we share the same anxieties.
That's
And the
absolutely true.
fact that we found gardening very therapeutic, we bonded over that. And
Mm.
here, whenever I'm spiraling into a panic, he would be like, "Go outside, go pick some peppers or something." And it would calm us down.
Yeah.
And from then, like creating became almost second nature for us because the almost like I don't want to speak like we're geniuses, but you know how composers they know the song before
Mhm.
they even play it. I think for Bobby and I, we know the flavors before we even make the sauce. That's what
Yeah.
we did with Blazing Asian. I'm like, I know this would play really well with this, or this ingredient will make this one dance. So when I was making the sauce, it was almost like intuitive for me to put all those ingredients together, and somehow they made sense in my head and they made sense in real life. So we're very grateful in the sense that, we had our cultural backgrounds, our taste profiles helped
Hmm.
guide and build this business.
It's a weird thing for us to have met because like we definitely do have that ability where we can like think of something and taste it before we even make it. And I think like now back to where we were like talking about the pressure of the show, like when they said, "Hey, you guys need to make hot sauce." I mean, we were like, "Okay, what are we doing?" We were just ready to like figure it out. And Araya's like, she had a crazy idea to go with the blazing Haitian, and I was like, well, if you're gonna make like more of a traditional sauce, maybe like a gourmet, I'm gonna go with something off the beaten path. I'm gonna make like a fruit based spicy dessert sauce, and then we just kind of like came together, created recipes, and then just dove right in, and they both came out really well, like under pressure. I think. I
I
mean,
think, well, first of all, I think that, sorry, I'm sorry. Did you,
oh, go ahead.
okay. First of all, I think it's really cool that you were able to take something that um, is not even a hobby. It's more of a therapeutic exercise
Mhm.
and create something really not only positive for yourselves, but positive for others as well through that. And also, I'm a big proponent about the belief of cooking is love,
Yeah.
and when your therapy is also self love,
Mhm.
and so it kind of just makes a little sense that you went from something that helps calm you down and in a therapeutic exercise, and then it kind of nurtures your love of spices and of peppers and all this other kind of stuff, and then you create something out of love that I think transcends really well for people because it you really care about it,
Mhm.
and you're not caring about it from a commercial standpoint, you're caring about it from a self-satisfactory standpoint. And so
Yeah.
I think that just translates really well. It's very cool.
It's awesome. Yeah.
So, you're not, you kind of walked backwards into this, right? You into entrepreneurialism. Like you're dabbling around, but now you're kind of pushed into, hey, now it's time, now it's time to launch a company. Like here you
Yeah,
go.
I think Array and I realistically all we needed was an excuse. Like we had talked about it, we had thought about it. It wasn't like to the point where we're like, hey, we're drilling ourselves over it, but I think we needed a reason, something to push us into it. And like she said, the show just kind of guided us into that because now, in hindsight, we didn't even know what we were doing on the show.
Mhm.
We didn't know what we were gonna like, what the show was all about, and they just kept putting us in situations where we had to create stuff. And I'm like, this is actually a lot of fun. Like we're really having fun doing this. And in hindsight, once the show was over, I was like, well, what are we doing? Like, because we have these recipes and these ideas. We're on the heels of this show. This thing's about to come out. Like, should we, capitalize on this? What should we do? Like, I mean, it's already a passion of ours. Let's, invest in it and grow a company. And I think that it just all flowed so naturally when that happened. I mean, it just kind of guided us.
Uh,
And speaking of guides, I think one of the most important spirit guides for us was Troy Primo.
Yeah.
Because he was also featured in the show Superhot. He is one of the godfathers of the
Yeah.
spice world. He created the seven pot primo, which is the pepper that we use in all our hot sauces. And he was so generous with his knowledge and guiding us. He was our pepper Yoda, honestly. He showed us the way. We had zero experience with business. Bobby was great at sales. I can do problem solving on the fly as a nurse, but how that translates to business, we had no idea. And so Troy really got us started with, you know, letting us know how we can do it proper, not just not just create a product, but how to do the licensing, the establishing an LLC, which we had to figure out ourselves, and all the permits that we had to do,
Yeah.
all the hoops that we had to jump through. And so we are very grateful for his guidance.
He literally gave us a web of connections without thinking twice. He was like, here you go, guys. Like, this is everybody you need to know in the industry. Speak to any of these people. And he just gave us a bunch of people that he thought would help us, reach our goals. And the man is selfless. He just, yeah, it can't repay him for that kind of kindness that he gave us. So it's
Actually, you can pay it forward, right?
yeah, yeah,
I think that's always the thing, because we've talked a lot on this show about mentorship, and mentorship is something that is super important. So for those who are listening, and you haven't found a mentor yet, go find one, because there's a lot of people out there who are very successful who um will, very surprisingly give their time to you if you ask, right? Because they know they've gone through all these hurdles, they've gone through all these problems, and they know what's ahead on the road for you as you're just starting out. And a lot of times it's invaluable, just like Mr. Primo was for you guys, with not only connections but just guidance and ideas and being a
yeah,
sounding board,
yeah,
you know.
And speaking to what you were saying, like we all, I think, as collectively as a human being, human race, we want to leave a legacy, right?
Mm.
And it doesn't have to be something that's materialistic. You can find someone to pass everything that you know, and that could be your legacy. The people they help could be a part of your legacy. And that's what we want to do with our company, with our social media presence, is to share what we know, because not everyone has the luxury of learning these things.
yeah,
Not everyone has access to it, but in the time of social media and the internet, we are more accessible and people are more generous with their gifts. And I hope everyone, like you said, finds that mentor in their life.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. That's a great point. So when you were just starting out in your very first days, the earliest days of being entrepreneurs, like just, freshly on the scene there, what were some of the unexpected or humbling challenges that you guys faced? And what did you do to push through those?
everything. I mean, there was logistics and finances and really just figuring it out. And we had already kind of had um sort of a inner web of like a community built around us. We'd already kind of laid that foundation, which gave us a really, I guess, large head start, plus the show. But honestly, just finding, using basically the connections we had gained and trying to figure out, who are we using? Does this make sense? What's the average cost? How do we, like, there's so many things that you're trying to figure out. Packaging, it's just
Sure.
um shipping. There's so many things at the beginning. Araya, I mean, like, what do you recall as being some of our biggest?
We had a lot, like you said, just like the basic problems of business, and then the added problems that I came up with for our company. Bobby would have, we would have launched this company if I wasn't such a hurdle. Um, like I said, I'm very anxious and I'm very cautious. And this is already out of character for me to start a business. I'm like, I don't do anything risky. I was taught, look both ways before you cross. And here you're asking me to go blindly into the darkness and figure something out that I have no experience with or prior knowledge to. But like the company that we kept, the people we made friends with, they were very much instrumental in launching the company. They helped us with the basic stuff that we needed to accomplish, and then Bobby was very, he was willing to compromise so that my anxieties would go away. we wanted to make sure that the ingredients that we used were very high quality. We wanted to make it so it wasn't out of reach for people. We wanted it to be accessible, affordable, but also the flavor had to be just right. And so it like you said in the beginning, it was communication and the trust, the blind trust that we had for each other
Yeah,
was
it's
very instrumental.
not a typical business setup if you think about it. You've got two remote partners,
Mhm.
one in Chicago, one in New Jersey,
Correct.
orchestrating everything by phone. I think that was one of the biggest hurdles, just staying on the same page, her keeping me in check and making sure I don't run off with ideas like in the wrong direction, like, or like, because I have a habit of really going headstrong into whatever I'm looking at. So she kind of kept me grounded, and on the other hand, I kind of drug her through. So we balanced each other, But yeah, I think like she's saying, like finding that fine balance between what we were looking for with a product and then also keeping our costs um, relative to that, and then making it affordable for everybody. Um, I mean, this was all being done blindly. Like again, we had no experience, so um, I mean, I'm trying to think of something that we overcame that was
Well, what's like a
noteworthy.
what's like a really good takeaway, right? Like now that you look back and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, here we are today, back right when we started. Ooh, I'm really glad we did this. Or I'm,
Yeah.
like what is a takeaway from that?
My main takeaway was to compromise when you can, and then just stand firm when you really believe in something.
Hmm.
Um, and you're basically creating a baby, right?
Yeah,
And you want to raise it right. I think we had this conversation before, PJ, when you told me that a business is a baby. It can't stand on its own. You have to guide it, you have to feed it, you have to give it time. And I think that the key takeaway for us is that in order to keep going, you just have to care enough and to learn more and do more and give more of yourself, and you will find success in not just financially, but in reaching people, in reaching your goals and helping out in ways like we do with our fundraising with the American Cancer Society. We count all the successes, and that what do you have to say, Bobby? Do you have anything to add?
No, compromise is huge, and then yeah, there's the fine line where we wouldn't cross, but you have to be able to, like when you're focusing, I guess, on something, be able to adapt, make changes, and because I think you'll get crushed if you don't, if you try to ride the wave in one direction. And then the other thing too, it's like when you're doing an entrepreneurial thing, like you're starting a business, I think the biggest thing that you have to overcome is the idea of having no expectations from what you're doing for at least 1 to 3 years, but still giving every ounce of energy you have into it. And
Hmm.
it's a weird thing, but like you're doing the right things and your goal is set out there, but it's not an instant reward. And everything I think today is like this instant reward system. This is not something, if that's what you're expecting, you need to realize that there's a lot of sacrifices that have to be made, a lot of energy that has to go out, and a lot of time that you have to wait for things to really turn around.
No, that's great. That's great. And I love the collaborate, but also stand firm. Like it's so true. And Bobby, you're talking about the pivot as well, right? Like you have to be able to turn on your heel. Don't
Yeah,
fall in love. Don't don't fall in love so much with what you're doing that you're blind to reality,
yeah,
right?
Mhm.
yes,
So
exactly.
you got to be able to pivot, and
Yeah,
even though it's painful.
yeah,
So really, really great points. But you also brought up another really interesting thing just about you two is that you are different time zones, you're far apart. How do you balance? You're both full time, and Bobby, you're in sales, Aurea, you're saving lives. Not that you're not Bobby, but I'm just saying nurses, come on. So how do you balance full-time jobs, family, launching a business, really no roadmap, you're kind of like out there on your own. How do you stay motivated and focused when the path forward isn't always crystal clear?
Kind of a good situation. Like when I consider it like most people when they lose their job, um, they consider that, wow, this is a bad thing. But I took that as a blessing in disguise at the time. So talk about a blind leap of faith. I'd recently gotten laid off in the filming of the show. So and then we just took, took a risk and jumped into the company on the heels of that. So at that point in time, I was all cylinders firing. I mean, it was Grumpy Spice all day, every day. And Aurea was doing her best to be a part of it with her extremely busy schedule. So I think timing really played a part in that. Um, and then over time, as things have gone along, it got a little more streamlined and a little easier to manage, with the help of my wife and stuff like that too. She's been helping out big time,
Mhm.
because my main job has been, taking a lot of my time away. But I think, and Ray, I think you could speak on that. Like it was a weird time, but it just lined up
Yeah.
perfectly.
I always kind of described our friendship as like Frodo and Sam, but we have to take turns holding the ring. Like we
Yeah,
sometimes he's Frodo, sometimes I'm Frodo.
yeah,
We have to get to Mordor, and this is the nerdy stuff that we talk about. But we take turns. We take turns carrying the weight of the one ring to rule them all.
yeah.
Okay. As long as I'm not Gollum, I guess it's all good.
You can be you can be Gandalf.
I,
You call
I
me old.
get
No.
in hindsight, like if that opportunity hadn't have come up for, I say opportunity, losing a job, right, that you worked at for 13 years or whatnot, um, it opened it up for at least for me.
Yeah.
If I'm doing what I'm doing right now, plus running that, it would be impossible. So the timing was right. So if you're thinking about starting a company, yeah, time's going to be a huge factor for you, depending on what kind of business it is. That's for sure.
No, absolutely. And sometimes, sure, being laid off is it's a blow financially, it's a blow to your ego, to your hubris, right? And so a lot of times that can be seen as a negative, but also like all of a sudden it just frees you up to be able to focus on something that you have right in front of you. Well, it's kind of a blessing. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's kind of awesome.
yeah.
So, how do you think your personal backgrounds, right? Like, Bobby, you're in sales, and Aurea, you're in nursing, and both of you are in gardening. How has that shaped your approach to entrepreneurship and how you connect with your customers? Like, has it given you more of a temperate, steady approach, or like what has it done for you guys?
Um, well, I guess Horea's got the ability to deal with almost any human, right? Because you've
Yeah,
been.
which is why I took the customer service part of our business. I can put out any fire you can put in front of me. I've had people, running around with needles and pens threatening my life, and we just have to deal with it. I can I can decide on the fly. Critical thinking is a skill that I've honed throughout my years of nursing, and at first it was a struggle for me to translate that into a business, but I kind of a switch kind of went off in my head, and like I could answer questions. I could help people. I could direct people. I could show them how to best enjoy the sauce. I could help them dose how much sauce they can handle. So that's how that's how I approached it with the nursing mindset. And on top of that, with me as well, I love to travel, and that helped shape the sauces and the flavors that we come up with.
Yeah, that is for me. In the sales aspect, of course, that's a beneficial trait to have, and in any business. But also working for larger companies over the years, being a part of their the way they're built, understanding how they work, and kind of utilizing that as like a baseline or building blocks for me to understand how it should operate. I think that really helped us out a lot as well. I'd done some smaller things. I wouldn't really consider it a business, but I had a small restoration thing that I used to do, and that kind of gave me some insight on how to manage the funds and work that stuff. So I think just all the life experiences we've had kind of, we were able to tweak them and twist them and utilize them to help us out in this journey, even though we had no clue what we were what we were doing in the beginning.
Well, what have you discovered about yourselves during this process that you think is whether it's professional or personal? Um, has there been anything that you've discovered about yourself that you didn't know about yourself before you started this?
How far I can push myself and never give up. Uh, Tons of grit.
Mhm.
I've got that fight in me. I can't give up. Once I have something, an idea that something I wanna accomplish, um, I'm unstoppable. Yeah.
Yeah, well, speaking to what he's saying, resiliency, I think, is the main thing that we developed and kind of strengthened throughout this process. Um, the fact that we came in not knowing anything, I think, was our biggest gift because we got to discover the things that other people knew right off the bat because they learned it in school. But with us, we had to figure everything out. We had to build from the ground up. And in doing that, it gave us a unique perspective into business. And I know that a lot of people who are starting business have the same shared experiences, but different maybe in some ways. But it was such a gift to not know anything, to go as, little babies, not knowing what to do with the world and learning as we go.
That is awesome. So I'm sure you guys have had some setbacks. I'm sure you've had some disappointments during this whole road so far. What mindset or practices have you developed or that you had innately that helped you reframe these setbacks into opportunities of growth? And like, how do you keep going when things get tough?
I think, well, optimism goes a long way. But um, just being able to lean on each other, you know, um, work with each other through the issues that come at us, and just understanding that like a setback, like even like we were talking about earlier with losing a job and then it opening up another door, certain things you might miss out on something, but something better comes up because of it. So you really just have to stay dialed in and keep your eyes open and just accept the losses and wait for the wins sometimes, I guess. I at least from what we've gone through. I mean, Araya, do you have
Yeah. I mean, you hear a lot of business people say, go 110%, give it your all. Um, I think you should keep some for yourself because the business is there. The business will grow if it's meant to, with the work that you're putting in. But you that's how you burn out, really. If you don't keep the things that, if you don't remember the reason why you started off in the first place, like for us, we loved gardening, and so we still maintain the garden. So if I'm stressed out with the business, I go out there, I pick some peppers, and remember what you came into the business for. I would say give 80% to the business, 10% to your friends and family, and 10% for yourself.
That's
And
really that's really good. That's really good. But also, one of the things I find interesting about the two of you, and I think it plays well across partnerships and entrepreneurialism in general, is that you guys are different people. You're not exactly alike. You have different strengths and you have different weaknesses, and there's this yin and yang balance. How do you guys work that balance? Like what does that look like when something comes up? Is it like, oh, all right, this is kind of in your lane, you take care of that? Or like, how do you guys work together on things like that?
um usually, I mean, Ray can speak for herself. Usually, like, I think She'll come off a little. First things hit when something hits her, she tends to be like, "Oh no!" And so, like you want to elaborate on, you know what I'm saying, right? Like
Yeah.
about yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. I get frazzled easy.
You're a nurse.
I get frazzled, I get scared, but then you just bunch it up and then
we
you sort
we
it
take
out.
turns calming each other down. I think it's the
Exactly.
best way to like. I tend to look at things differently than she does. So like if something's overwhelming her, I'll step back and kind of dial in and try to dismantle it, figure it out, and then work it out. But like we kind of like I don't know, wherever we fall short, we seem to fill each other's like that void. It just comes naturally. I don't think it's something you can teach two people to do. For some
Mhm.
reason, we just have this weird connection where we're able to
Yeah.
balance each other out. Like you were saying, I wish I could say, "Hey, there's this like secret book on how to do that," but I don't think it exists. I think it's just her and I. Just
We always joke around like we were siblings in a past life and we just found each other again in different families because he is as annoying and as irritating as Bobby can be, he will always be my brother. He will stress me out to my limits, but then, I will always have love for Bobby, no matter how stubborn he is. And recently, during the past, like, maybe year or so, I think it's very important that outside of our friendship, we have a family, a group of friends that are surrounding us so that when we both go off the rails, because sometimes it just happens that we're both as equally stressed out. We have my mom, Bobby's wife, she has been very instrumental in keeping us together and keeping us friendly with each other because sometimes we want to just strangle each other. But we have to remember that we are we are family first and foremost.
yeah,
So
but
that's
uh,
the important part.
things like that are bound to come up. I think in any relationship because the heart. I think people tend to the more pressure, the more stress people tend to either really show themselves or crack or just fall apart, but we just keep on trucking.
Well, I will say it's one of the things that I find very refreshing about you two is that I've had the opportunity to meet both of you in person, which of course was amazing. And one of the things that is really cool about you is that you guys are just human, right? You have a love for each other, not a romantic love, but a platonic love,
Mhm.
like a familial love for each other that kind of transcends really well. And not that you have to love a business partner, you don't, but when you're able to share passions and you have mutual respect for each other, I
Mhm.
think that really lays the groundwork to have a very healthy and each person stepping in at the right moment type of relationship that will bode well for your future and your success in the future. I think that a lot of times when people are just about the almighty dollar or about I got to hit this before we're successful or whatever else, I think they forget the journey. I think they're forgetting like a big part of why they're doing what they're doing. And one of the things I love about you guys is that you you're always keeping gardening at the heart of it. You're keeping really good focus on the quality of the product that you're putting out because you actually care about the product. And I think in a way you're doing the product and probably the flavor profiles for yourselves and those that you love, and then that transcends out, which I think is different
Yeah,
than someone saying, "Oh, I'm going to make this pickle, whatever, and I think people will like it, so I'm going to focus on that." No, you're focused on this is what we love, and we know
yeah.
this works, and we're going to build it from there.
I think that's awesome that you just said that. I feel like the idea or the ideal or the reason why you go into business really matters sometimes,
Thousand
especially
percent.
when you're starting out. And like you said, I mean, we both have the same passion for the same things. We both love what we're doing. We both want to see it grow. But at the end of the day, it's not really about the money. It's more about watching this thing grow. When the money's there, awesome. But the mindset is this is a baby. This is our baby. We want to see it grow and reach fruition one day. But that's what matters to us, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah, it has to stay authentic to who we are. And I think that's at the core, that's what Grumpy Spice is about, is bringing you little parts of me and Bobby and through our products that we're creating and through the people that we reach.
Yeah.
And also it's the mutual respect that you have for each other, because a lot of times you have a there's almost like a power dynamic, right? And if someone is more outgoing and someone's more introverted, or if someone is bringing more money to the table or whatever there is, there's a lot of times there's imbalance in the relationship of a partnership,
Mhm.
which can be grating after a while,
Mhm.
right? And that creates some ruts that are kind of hard to get out of. The thing
Right.
that I love about you guys is that you're actually, from everything that I've seen, you're true equals in your partnership, and that allows you to dance through a lot of things a lot easier, which is
Yeah.
something to be lauded. I think it's really great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It took a lot of work because it's, sibling, how siblings are when they're fighting. That's exactly how we are. And we've had like screaming matches and, we want to shake each other, but at the end of it, we talk it through and we just need to get the rage out first, and then we'll tackle what the problem is.
She's missing out on the most important thing, that nobody has as much fun when we're actually together,
Mhm.
geeking out over
Exactly.
gardens and visiting botanical, gardens and stuff like that. We're both absolute goofballs, and I
Mhm.
think that absence of seriousness on the other side of the coin
It helps a
really
lot.
helps us just get through it. You just have to be relaxed and just enjoy what you're doing at the end of it. Because if you lose that, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What
Yeah. No, not only that though, but also it's having the respect for yourself as well as for your partner, right? And so I think that kind of level playing field allows you to really flourish the way you have, which is
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah.
So creativity is a big, plays a big role in what you guys do. How do you continue to find inspiration, like for like new flavors and ideas, while still just doing the boring day to day managing of a business?
Well,
I
she's got
travel
a
a lot. I travel
gen.
a
Yeah.
whole lot.
Yeah.
I travel to eat, and that's where I find my inspiration. We're big foodies also, so we go out and find weird ingredients and we try them just to try them and see how they could work in a sauce. And that's my source of creativity.
Oh, that's very cool.
Thank you.
So, looking back, what advice would you give to someone, a burgeoning entrepreneur who's standing on the edge of their own leap of faith, right? Because this is basically what you guys have done.
Yeah.
They're unsure, they're unprepared, but they have a ton of passion. So, what would your advice be to them?
Well, if you don't jump, you're never gonna move.
Mhm.
There you go.
No.
Like people say, you're always going to be scared to do something, and that's how I felt in the beginning of this. Um, but do it scared.
Mm,
Take that
Yeah.
first step.
We risked. I mean, always marginalize your risks, but and have that in front of you. And but you really gotta, if you want to do something, you're either gonna regret it later for not doing it, or you're gonna do it, right? And um you just gotta jump. You really do. You'll figure out everything along the way, but unless you take that step, unless you really just go for it, assuming that you have a good idea and
Mhm.
you know what you're doing, a little bit, then just go for it. Don't stand around and wait, because it's never gonna come that day for you to do it. You gotta do it.
Yeah. With as far as advice, I would say, um, based on our journey as business owners now, it's so weird to say that, but we're business owners now, is find something that you love doing so that you can build that resiliency to keep doing that. Find a mentor, to help you. There's hundreds and hundreds of people willing to help. Find someone you trust, build a community of people who can support you when you need it the most, when everything gets tough, and care enough about your product so that it translates and transcends to the other people. So I think that's the best advice I could give.
Yeah. I, I think that is super important when it comes to anything that you're creating for people to consume. Like, you can taste the difference of something that somebody doesn't care about versus somebody that put their heart and soul into it. So I think if you're venturing into that side of the entrepreneurial world, yeah, you got to put your heart and soul into it, because that's your success right there. It's the ingredients, your designs, your whatever you're making. You have to have that to back it up.
I love that. That's really, really cool. I mean, and obviously it's played well for you guys because look at what you've done. And I admire the fact that you are both self-proclaimed anxious people who
Yeah.
who go through their own therapy, which is gardening, and yet you have done one of the more risky things that most people don't do, and that is put yourself out there and start a business, right? And so I think, I mean, it's remarkable. And I think, it's absolutely should be celebrated, because if you guys can do it, then
Yeah.
other people just need to get off their ass, basically.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just can't run away from things. Sometimes you just got to run towards them, and I think that's what we did. We ran into the anxiety, all the uncomfortable places, and I think at the end of the day, it's benefited us greatly. I think it's changed who we are and made us stronger as people.
It made us
Um,
definitely braver,
Yeah.
and it made us more equipped to face challenges with, because if we were able to overcome this, like, bring it on. We can tackle anything because we have each other, we have our family, we have our friends. It makes us a little bit more invincible, knowing that we have a group of people backing us up and believing in us, and you're one of them, PJ, and
yeah,
we're truly grateful that you believe in us so much. And in as a starting business, we're very new into the space, and I'm sure throughout your history of this podcast, you've had people with multi-billion-dollar businesses joining you. We want to share our perspective as real, regular Joe Schmoes, uh,
yeah,
braving business, right? And like you said, if we can do it, you can do it too.
Oh, absolutely. Well, everyone's human, right?
yeah,
And thank you for your kind words. But everyone's human, and I think you guys just have a remarkable story. That's really why I wanted to share it. But also, you kind of, the way you explained like how you deal with entrepreneurialism and what advice you would give and everything, it just reminds me of a picture. And so, I grew up, most of my life I spent growing up in Hawaii, and I used to do a lot of body surfing. And the beach that I used to do body surfing all the time was known as shore break, and so that meant that the waves would crash on the shore. So when the water drew out for the waves to come down, the more water drew out, the bigger the wave was. And when the water draws out, I don't know if it's what the technical term is, but we used to call that no man's land. And if you're in no man's land, you either have to run towards the beach or run towards the wave. And if you run towards the wave and you get there in time, you're able to jump, kind of dive into the belly of the wave before it breaks. And then you're fine. And if you run out towards the beach, you're probably going to be fine. But if you sit in that spot, if you sit in no man's land for too long, you're going to get creamed.
Mhm.
You're just going to get
yeah,
violently creamed. So I
That's
think,
a great analogy. Yeah.
well, with what you're saying, it just all of a sudden it just popped in my head like, oh yeah, this is like being in no man's land. Like you gotta run to the wave, right? You
Mhm.
just
yeah,
you gotta do it. So
yeah.
very inspirational, guys. I really love that. So, tell us about your socials. Like, where can people find you? Where can they order? Like, you have 2 sauces. You're working with the American Cancer Foundation. I've had another sauce before from you guys, that Thai chili one, which was amazing. I don't know if that's a recurring flavor for you, but tell us what's coming up next.
Do you want to rip it, Aurea? Tell her.
You can find us at grumpyspice.com to order your sauces. We are also at Grumpy Spice LLC on social media. And we currently have the Blazing Asian hot sauce, which is our flagship hot sauce. We have the Taste of Thai red curry, which benefits the American Cancer Society. And we are going to be restocking on the Sweet Sizzle Drizzle, a fan favorite. People are demanding for it to come back. And we have another sauce that's coming out. We're just waiting for the American Cancer Society to pick out our second collaboration hot sauce for them.
Wow.
The
Yeah.
Taste of Hope event, which benefits cancer research.
I know we were telling them. That's awesome, though. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And our chocolates, too. Don't forget.
Oh, we also have spicy chocolates. We forgot. Yes, really spicy chocolates.
Award-winning spicy chocolates.
Very.
They are. The award should be you survived, because I have had some of this. I've had some of this chocolate, and it is not for the faint of heart, sir.
Yeah.
So
It adds a different meaning to hot chocolate.
There's a level for every human out there. Don't worry. There's different levels for all of you. You try the mild to the brave side, the super duper duper hot. So
I hope you dedicate your stomach to science, because that's some spicy stuff there, bud.
Yep.
All right. So grumpyspice.com, grumpyspice.com is where we can find you. Wow. Really, really enjoyed the conversation. You know, Bobby McFadden, Aurea de Guzman, like, so thankful for you guys to be on the show. And, you know, keep doing what you're doing. You're blowing up. You're doing so well. And I'm just so proud of you, and so glad to know you. And now I'm really glad that a lot of other people know you, not only just from Hulu, but who you are as well. So I think that's awesome.
Thank you for having us, PJ. And we're so glad that we were able to share our story with you.
Yeah. Thank you for letting us on today and taking a chance. And can't thank you enough.
Oh, no worries. Thank you so much.